Speaking of action, we are now going to proceed into the next session this morning, and it's one that I am particularly quite interested to dive into. This next session is titled Trailblazers in Action. We're diving into the forefront of innovation where we'll explore the dynamic nature of transboundary success in Africa and beyond. We'll hear from distinguished speakers that are, quite frankly, moving the needle when it comes to startup ecosystem development, creating new technologies and innovation that have the power to truly change our continent and our economies. These innovators are making a drive towards development and breaking barriers. Here to drive that conversation, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing to you Ms. Priscilla Boague, Government Affairs and Public Policy Manager for Google. And I'd also like to take the opportunity to call onto stage all of the panelists of this session. Let's give them all a very big round of applause.
Dr. Peter Owotoki, the co-founder of Izola, if you could talk to us about your fantastic organization.
Sure, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. A pleasure to be here. Isola, we are a startup, AI-first startup. Our mission is to transform the health journeys and the health stories for families with special needs, what we call the neurodiverse. So we were one of the startups that was selected last year in the first Google cohort for AI health, being AI first. And coming out of that, we created the first conversational coach using a large language model that is trained and fine-tuned specifically for the needs of families with special needs. This is deployed in Kenya and already being used as well in some African countries. We are experiencing 3 digits month-on-month growth, and we're really counting on this to solve some of the problems that the Honorable Minister just described, which is the problem of brain drain, lack of professionals to provide healthcare services. We believe that technology can solve some of that. Our mission is AI and compassion, and I'd love to get more into that during this conversation.
Wonderful. Dr. Owotoki, so you're earlier in your journey, right, in this digital transformation journey, hopefully on the way to the $1 billion mark. Talk to us about maybe some of the challenges that you're facing as an African startup to scaling, because we expect, hopefully, that this is the goal, right, when you have such a unique solution and you want to expand access. But what are some of those challenges that you're facing to doing that?
Yeah, so thank you very much for the question. So in the healthcare or health tech space in particular, where I think most innovators are going to face the same challenge that I will describe here. And this is the lack of a well-developed payer or reimbursement mechanism. And in particular, with our innovation, where we're targeting a niche product at the beginning, which is the neurodiverse families typically with autism and other kinds of conditions. Now, the insurances are typically going to cut out or will not. They will recognize this as pre-existing conditions. So it means we have to think and work harder to do the groundwork of not only innovating our solution, but also innovating how we get paid for our innovation. One of the things that helps us is the fact that we're one of the leaders or the trailblazers, if you may, in this space, because we create technology that supports. It's very AI-able problem, where AI can truly have a measurable impact on diagnosis. So if you collect enough data, you observe enough, which is what experts do, there are not enough of them, you are able to extract features which we call digital biomarkers that help you to speed up diagnosis. Now, the good thing is the output of this innovation is very interesting for researchers, for other markets outside of Africa. which is one path that we have to take. It's a long-winded path. I wish there was an established reimbursement system that we could exploit as an health tech innovation. Unfortunately, in most African countries, it's not there yet. So by innovating for not only our patients, but also B2B clients, other research institutions in and outside of Africa that could leverage our innovation, we're able to at least gain the initial validation, gain some support as well to continue to drive the work until we can find other ways. And thanks to our LLM model, I think we have been able to crack a code that could help us to the $1 billion mark eventually. But two things I'll just conclude with is one, the fact that we need to do more work to support innovators. In this case, the health tech space, a reimbursement mechanism that then makes it easier for entrepreneurs, for innovators to innovate and to be able to get paid for their innovation. Then the second thing is don't underestimate African innovation, the ability to leapfrog. Based on the work we do, that we started to do in Kenya, we collected our initial data that resonated with researchers from some of the best universities in the world, including in Germany, and institutions as well outside of Africa that now use some of our findings in their research work. And that way we're able to build traction with our work.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We're going to have to wrap up this panel with one last word from you, Doctor. I think as one of Africa's youth, it's a really powerful thing for us to be ending on a message from you to policymakers, to regulators, whether it's a country of 2.4 million in Botswana or 200 million in Nigeria, who want to support their youth. What can they do? What message would you like to give to these policymakers?
So Plato once said, a famous phrase, necessity is the mother of invention. And I think Africa is that crucible, because there's just so much problems to solve. That's so much ways that we can innovate in Africa. And the AI moment upon us, it's the biggest springboard to actually unleash that potential of African young people. So my appeal is to seize the moment. Yeah. And how would you seize the moment? Just invest. Before companies will be ready for Patek's investment, they need to build the technology. They need to identify the market. So without the capital, without the support framework, that's not going to happen, and we're going to miss the moment. So my appeal is, let's seize the AI moment, let's leapfrog, let's innovate. A lot of the innovation that will transform even the future of the world, lots of it is going to come from Africa.
Excellent message. Thank you so much. The importance of creating an enabling regulatory environment for our startups.